morning students. Welcome to physics class. In the previous class we have started with a new lesson. Yes, it is heat. And we have learned the effects of heat, the modes of transfer of heat, that is conduction, convection and radiation. Now, if you touch a hot substance, how do you feel? Yes, we will feel the hotness of the substance. And in physics, what is a fundamental quantity that defines how hot or how cold a substance is? Yes, it is temperature. So what is the temperature? So temperature is a quantity which measures how hot or cold a substance is. And how will you measure this temperature? Yes, by means of thermometers. Where have you seen this thermometer? In hospitals. But there are different types of thermometers. So there are clinical thermometers and laboratory thermometer. And in today's class, we are going to learn about different scales of temperature. So in today's class, we are going to learn about temperature. So what is temperature? The temperature is the measure of how hot or cold a substance is, and temperature can be measured by means of thermometer. So while measuring any quantity, we have, for example, we have the length. We measure in meter, weight in kilogram, isn't it? So we have different scales, a centimeter, a millimeter, etc., isn't it? Similarly, for measuring this temperature also, we have different scales. So there are three different scales. What are they? So they are the Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale and Kelvin scale. So these are the three different scales of measurement of temperature: Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin. So what is the Celsius scale? So Celsius scale is the scale that is normally used in India, and Kelvin is used internationally, which is the fundamental unit of temperature. Kelvin is the fundamental unit of temperature. Okay. So what is the, now let us discuss about the Celsius scale. So Celsius scale is the scale of temperature that is followed in India, and here in the Celsius scale, the boiling and freezing point. The boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius and the freezing point is 0 degree Celsius. So the interval between the boiling point and the freezing point, it is divided into 100 equal parts. The interval has 100 equal parts. The next we see about the Fahrenheit scale. So in Fahrenheit scale, the boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit and the freezing point (32 degree Fahrenheit). So in the Fahrenheit scale, the boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit and the freezing point is 332 degree Fahrenheit. And here the interval between these two boiling and freezing point is divided into 180 equal parts. So Celsius scale, the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius, freezing point is 0 degrees Celsius, and the interval between these 2 points is divided into 100 equal parts. And in Fahrenheit scale, the boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit and freezing point is 32 degree Fahrenheit, and the interval is divided into 180 equal parts. From Celsius scale to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to Celsius scale. So conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So that's the formula. So F is equal to 9 by 5C plus 32. So this is the formula for converting a Celsius to a Fahrenheit scale. And for a Fahrenheit to Celsius, C is equal to 5 by 9 in the F minus 32. So these are the two formulas for the conversion. So F is equal to 9 by 5C plus 32 and C is equal to 5 by 9 into F minus 32. So this is the formula for converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, and this is the formula for converting Fahrenheit to Celsius scale. Next, let us learn about the Kelvin scale. So Kelvin is the fundamental unit for temperature which is internationally accepted, and Kelvin scale is also called as absolute scale. Kelvin scale is also called as absolute scale, and 0 Kelvin, which is called as absolute zero, it is at this temperature all the molecules of substance have low energy. So at 0 Kelvin, the molecules of the substance have 0 Kelvin. Then all the states of water, that is the solid, liquid and gaseous states of water, coexist in equilibrium. So they exist in equilibrium at 273.16 Kelvin. So at this temperature, all the forms of water, that is the solid, liquid and gaseous states of water, exist in equilibrium. So Kelvin is defined as, how will I define Kelvin? So Kelvin is defined as one by 273.16 of triple point temperature. So 1 Kelvin is defined as 1 by 273.16 of a triple point temperature. Triple point temperature is a temperature in which the molecules of all the substance are at equilibrium. So that particular point is called as a triple point temperature, and Kelvin is defined as 1 by 273.16 of a triple point temperature. So for converting a Celsius into Kelvin, the formula is K is equal to 273.16 plus C. So this is the formula for converting a Celsius to Kelvin. K is equal to 273.16 plus C. Next we see about absolute zero. So what is absolute zero? So absolute zero, as we have learned, it is 0 Kelvin. It is the temperature. Absolute zero is the temperature at which the volume and pressure of gases reaches zero. Theoretically, it reaches zero. Okay. So it is the temperature at which the volume and pressure of gases stays 0, or it is the 0 Kelvin, and it is minus 273.15 degree Celsius. In Celsius it is minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, and the absolute zero for in Kelvin is 0 Kelvin, and in Fahrenheit it is 460 Fahrenheit. It is the absolute zero. So it is the temperature at which the volume and the pressure of gases reach 0. So it is 0 Kelvin and minus 273.15 degrees Celsius and 460 degree Fahrenheit. Now tabulate the boiling point, melting point and absolute zero for various scales. So the boiling point for Kelvin is 373.15, melting point is 273.15, and absolute zero is 0. For boiling point, the Celsius is 100 degrees Celsius, the melting point is 0 degrees Celsius, and absolute zero is minus 273.15 Celsius. Boiling point for Fahrenheit is 212, the melting point is 32, and the absolute zero is 460. These are the various values of boiling point, melting point, absolute zero for different scales, that is Kelvin, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Next we can learn specific heat capacity. You might have felt that the land in the morning is cool, then during the daytime. During the daytime the land will be hot. But the water in a lake will maintain the temperature more or less same in the morning and also during the daytime. So what is the reason? It is the difference in properties of both land and in water. So by these parameters we can define the amount of heat absorbed or lost by any particular substance. So the factors that are responsible for the heat loss or heat absorbs, they depend on the three main factors. So first one is the change in temperature of a body, then the mass of a body, and then the nature of material. The nature of material of a body. These three factors determine the amount of heat absorbed and lost by a substance, that is change in temperature of a body, mass of a body and the nature of material of a body. Based on this observation, we can define the specific heat capacity. That is, if we can take a 1 liter of water, the heat required to increase the temperature of 1 liter of water will be more when compared to the amount of water which is 500 ml. So there will be a difference in the heat energy. For heating 1 liter of water, we need more heat energy than for heating 500 ml of water. So if Q is the heat energy that is required, and if M is the mass of the body, whereas what is Q? Q is the heat that is required, and M is the mass of the body, then we can say that Q is proportional to M. Q is proportional to M. This is the first observation. That is, the heat required for raising the temperature of 1 liter of water will be more when compared to that of raising the temperature of 500 ml of water. Then the second observation is that the heat required for raising 250 ml of water to 100 degrees Celsius will be more when the heat required to raise to the same 250 ml of water to 50 degree Celsius. So there is a change in temperature. The same amount of water, but the temperature changes. So that is, to raise 100 degree Celsius, we need more heat energy. And for raising the 250 ml of water to 50 degree Celsius, we need less heat energy when compared to that of the previous measurement. So here in this case, so there is a change in temperature. So change in temperature will be always represented as delta T. So whenever when you come across delta in physics, it means there will be the change in the measurement. Delta T, here T represents the temperature. So there will be a change in temperature. The measurement remains the same, 250 ml, but the temperature varies. That is 100 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius. For 100 degrees Celsius, we need more heat energy when compared to that of 50 degrees Celsius. So therefore, Q is proportional to M into delta T. The quantity of heat energy, which is proportional to M into delta T. And when we remove the proportionality constant, Q can be written as Q is equal to M into C into delta T. Okay, but C is the specific heat capacity. What is C? C represents the specific heat capacity. So Q is equal to M into C into delta T. So therefore, C is equal to Q by M into delta T is the formula for calculating the specific heat capacity of a substance. So C is equal to Q divided by M into delta T. So how will you define the specific heat capacity now? We know the formula C is equal to Q. Q is the heat energy, M is the mass of the body, delta T is the change in temperature. So now we have to define the specific heat capacity. So C is equal to Q by M into delta. So how will you define specific heat capacity now? It is the quantity of heat energy required. It is the quantity of heat energy required of a substance of 1 kilogram. The quantity of heat energy required by a substance of 1 kilogram to increase its temperature by 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. So specific heat capacity is defined as the quantity of heat energy required by 1 kilogram of a substance to rise its temperature to 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. So this is the specific heat capacity. And what is its unit? So what is the unit of heat energy? That is joule, isn't it? The unit for heat energy is joule. We will represent as J, capital J. And then the unit for mass is kilogram. Since it is at the denominator, we represent it as kg power minus 1. And what is the unit of temperature? It is Kelvin, and it is in the denominator, and that is why we represent it as Kelvin. So what is the unit for specific heat capacity? Joule per kilogram per Kelvin. J, joule is the unit for heat. Q is the heat energy. M is the mass of the body, that is kilogram. And G is the temperature. Its unit is Kelvin. So the unit for specific heat capacity is joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And the specific heat, when you consider all the substance, this water has the highest specific heat capacity, that is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Water has the highest specific heat capacity, that is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. So here, that is why water is used as a coolant for radiators, and also it is used as a coolant in factories. So here the specific heat capacity or the heat energy required depends upon the nature of the material, change in temperature and the mass of the body. Based on that, we have defined the formula C is equal to Q by M into delta T. Its unit is joule per kilogram per Kelvin, and specific heat capacity is defined as the heat energy required by a substance of 1 kilogram to increase its temperature by 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. And water has the highest specific heat capacity of 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Let us solve this problem. So convert first one 25 degrees Celsius to Kelvin. So convert 25 degrees Celsius to Kelvin. So Kelvin, so we know the formula, it is 273.15 plus C, isn't it? So that is equal to 273.15 plus 25. So that is equal to 298.15 Kelvin. So we know the formula for converting Celsius to Kelvin. The formula is K is equal to 273.15 plus C, which is Celsius, degree in Celsius. So 273.15 plus 25, 298.15 Kelvin. Now the second one, convert 25 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay. So we know the formula. So convert 25 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. We know the formula. F is equal to 9 by 5 into C plus 32. So this is equal to 9 by 5 into 25 plus 32. So here 45 plus 32, which is equal to 77 degree Fahrenheit. So this is the way you have to convert. So formula for converting Celsius to Fahrenheit is F is equal to 9 by 5 C plus 32. Substitute the value for Celsius, that is 25. Do the calculation. The answer is 77 degree Fahrenheit. Let us calculate the heat energy required to raise the temperature of 2 kg of water from 10 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. We need to calculate the heat energy required. Given the specific heat capacity of water is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. So we know there is a change in temperature, isn't it? So delta T. So when you convert 50 degrees Celsius to Kelvin, it is 323.15, and when we change 10 degrees Celsius to Kelvin, it is 283.15. So change in temperature, delta T is equal to 40 Kelvin. Okay. So we know, or asked to calculate the heat energy. We know the formula, that is C is equal to Q by M into delta T. So you are given the specific heat capacity, given the mass and change in temperature 40 Kelvin. We are asked to calculate the heat energy required, that is Q. So Q is equal to C into M into delta T. So what is C? 4200 into M is 2 kilogram into delta T is 40. So this is equal to 3,36,000 joule. So this is the heat energy required. So change in temperature. So convert the value into Kelvin. and the change in temperature is 40 Kelvin. Substitute the values, we get the answer as 3 lakhs, that is 6000 joule is the heat energy required. So let us recall. So in today's class we have learnt about the temperature. Temperature is the measurement of how hot or cold a substance is, and the instrument to measure the temperature is thermometer. And there are different scales for the temperature, the Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin scale. Kelvin is the fundamental unit for temperature which is internationally accepted, and there are different formulas for for the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Celsius, and also from Celsius to Kelvin scale. And we have different boiling point, the freezing point, and also the values for absolute zero. Then we learned about the specific heat capacity. The specific heat capacity is defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of a substance to a degree of 1 Kelvin. This is the specific heat capacity, and its formula is C is equal to Q by M into delta T. And its unit is joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And the amount of heat lost or absorbed by a substance depends upon the factors. They are the nature of the material, the change in temperature of a body, and also mass of the body. And water has the highest specific heat capacity, which is 4200 joule per kilogram per Kelvin, and that is why water is used as a coolant for radiators and also for cooling the machines in the factories. So thank you, students.